Final four for the Huskers. We are on to the next round after beating Arkansas yesterday, which was quite the interesting match, if you will. But we'll get to that here in just a minute.
Yes.
We are going to talk a little UNO hockey here first as well. So go Mavericks. They played this weekend against St. Cloud State.
First place St. Cloud.
Yep, first place St. Cloud in the conference. So we'll talk a little NCHC TV or NCHC hockey.
You can watch NCHC TV if you want. I did.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we'll talk about volleyball. And then what everyone else wants to hear about is football. Obviously, a lot going on around the football program right now with a lot of rumors circulating on who's coming, who's our next quarterback, all that stuff.
Transfer portal.
So going to be a fun show. Looking forward to having you. So let's talk UNO Mavericks.
Yes.
So I went to both games. I was at both games.
I did not. I watched a little bit Friday night, and I watched more last night than I did Friday.
Okay.
Because by the time I got to it Friday, they were down 3-1, and I know you said they played well. Tough. St. Cloud hadn't lost in the conference yet. I mean, they have now after last night. UNO gets a shootout win, which is nice. That was awesome.
Yeah, and Friday night's game. They played really well Friday. They got a couple really rough calls from the refs in that game.
I did see a lot on Twitter that I follow some pretty hardcore UNO fans on Twitter, but they were saying that there was a lot of bad calls.
Yeah, I mean a lot of that they didn't call, and then they called a couple on UNO that just were not penalties, including a 5-minute game misconduct. And that's not good when you got that kind of representation from the refs. And again, you got really the guy, if you know anything about hockey, they called a 5-minute game misconduct for cross check from behind. But
I saw the video of it.
Yeah, and as much as he hit him from behind, but the guy turned his back last second, and if nothing else, you're going to call a boarding there, not an actual check from behind. It was just he kind of rode him into the boards, though. It was just such a weak penalty call.
It's kind of like you see the calls in college football as opposed to pro.
Yeah.
It's like they call so much more in college hockey, and they do so much review, and I hate it.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt like, normal NCHC refs. You're right, Dan.
Yeah, for sure.
Jamie, I mean, it was an absolute shit. I have never in my life, I've been going to games at Baxter since Baxter Open and UNO games in general, never seen UNO fans throw stuff on the ice.
Yeah, I did. Well, and I saw it said a fan threw beer on the ice. And somebody had posted, UNO fans throwing beer on the ice. And it was like, well, it was one.
Well, and it was one beer. I guess he threw it from the top level, from the second level, and chucked a Coors Light can. I'm like, if you're gonna throw water on the ice, just throw water on the ice. don't waste your $10 water. But then it was awful. I mean, it was really awful on Friday night. It wasn't really much better last night, to be honest. I mean, overall the refs. And in Friday night's game, they called a hold on Brock Bremer.
That was
they're
one
coming
that I
around
saw.
behind the net. And, I mean, he got pulled down. He ended up on the ground. Brock Bremer's 5'6". 5'5". He ain't going to knock anybody over or hold anybody from going anywhere. He's not that big. And the guy was much bigger than him. And he gets pulled down. So that was $10 horse piss. But he gets pulled down. And the ref called the penalty on him for holding, and then they score their first goal right after that, like within seconds. And so I feel like the refs just did not do a good job of managing the game Friday. Maybe it was a little bit better Saturday, but they still did a horrible job Saturday night. It was just a really bad officiated game. But
I need to get to a game. They've got a few weeks off now. I haven't been to a game yet this year. I've been watching as much as I can. Yeah. But I did see somebody said, can we do it like football rules? Can we decline when the other team gets a penalty because or can we just like not play it like it's a power play and just put first line out there, just run our normal lines, because it's like we don't know what we're doing on the power play.
Yeah, and it's funny, they had a better power play last night, a couple of good power plays last night. They didn't score, but they also scored a 4-on-4 goal, which I don't know the last time they scored a 4-on-4, because if you ever watch UNO, they tend to kind of sit back as if they're on the penalty kill during the 4-on-4. But that wasn't the case last night. I mean, they were taking chances on the 4-on-4. They had a couple shorthanded opportunities. I mean, they did what they needed to do put themselves in a good position in that game. And unfortunately, it wasn't enough to win it in regulation or overtime. But Kirby Proctor had a great game, scored a nice goal to get us the lead. Ty Mueller had just a fantastic game, and that
was a sick goal that he scored.
His goal was like right in front of us.
Oh yeah, you said you were down at that end.
Yeah, so we were down at that end, and he shot the puck, and as soon as he lost sight of it, he threw his hands up. The puck wasn't even in yet. He threw his hand. He knew it was going in.
Well,
and the
he
puck
just pickpocketed that guy. I was like, yeah, that was brutal.
Oh,
I mean, I was a D. So
yeah,
you can't let that happen.
Yeah, but it was a great play by Mueller. He's really stepped it up this year. He's one of the best players on the team. He also went 16-7 in the faceoffs. And then Nolan Sullivan, their captain, he was 10-5. So they won the faceoff battle 29-22, and they also won the shots 33-23. So
in
the second period last night, St. Cloud didn't get a shot until there was 5 minutes left in the period.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
14:58.
I mean,
they got their first shot in the period.
They've got a lot of experience on that team. I mean, it'll be interesting to see where they, what they look like next year. Since some of those kind of super senior players like Matt Miller and Jack Randall.
Matt Miller didn't play last night. They were shorthanded last night.
I don't think Randall actually is a senior. I don't know if he was a senior.
Yeah, he's a senior. Yep. He came back.
Just some of those guys might be gone next year, so it'll be interesting. But they've got experience. They know what it takes.
They got a lot of young guys too.
I hope they can make it. Normally they're good at the beginning of the year, and then they kind of tail off and then miss the tourney.
Yep.
I'm kind of hoping that they, rear it up a little bit toward the end of the season.
Yeah.
And make the tourney.
Yeah, and Dan, like you said, when they're on the power play, they really, even when they don't try to get fancy, which they do a lot of that, they try to get fancy passes. They try to get the perfect shot rather than just getting a shot on net. And that's where, again, I didn't play hockey, but sometimes you see, and even as a fan, you're watching, it's like, oh man, he should have shot the puck there. He waited way too long, and then he shot it into a guy's shin.
You either have to get somebody in front screening, or you do kind of have to get you go 5-4 to 4-3 to 3-2 to 2-1 until 1-0, and that's what you try to do.
Yeah.
But if you get too fancy with it, sometimes you just gotta get the puck on.
And what they don't do well is get a guy in front of the net.
Yeah.
The guy they need in front of the net is going to be Sullivan or Miller. Those are the two biggest guys they're going to drop from position.
Is he hurt?
Miller's out. He's hurt. Yep.
Oh, shit.
You talked to him, Dan? Yeah. So, it's unfortunate he's hurt, but he's one of the better players. But he's a guy you put in front of the net.
Oh, yeah. Big body in front of the net, for
very
sure.
Very big body. Him and Sullivan. And Sullivan is just, I've been very impressed with Nolan Sullivan this year.
They could put Proctor in front of the net.
Mancini.
Yeah, one of those two guys.
But Sullivan's he has been a guy who's, I think, grown his game, especially from last year, where he's been able to really grow who he is as a player and his strength on the puck. He battles harder than anybody. He's going to go after that puck harder than anybody. Mm-hmm. In case you're talking about going to the dirty areas, I mean, that's Sullivan. He has no problem. Him and Bremer. Bremer has no problem going to the dirty areas either, but
they're
really, if you haven't seen a game yet, I mean, they're a fun team to watch. They do a really good job of controlling the puck. Again, their passing this year has been much better. They have a couple weak spots on their D, but overall, the Mavericks should have a pretty darn good season.
They played St. Cloud at home, but they played at Duluth last week. They played at Denver, and they've gotten splits in all those. So I mean, you want to get a sweep here and there. I mean, you got to sweep Miami when you play Miami.
Yep.
Who else is down? I mean, Duluth is below them in the conference. They're 6th right now. But, I mean, they're going to have some battles with CC. CC is looking pretty good. They got a sweep.
Colorado College for the non-hockey fans.
They got a sweep at North Dakota, 2 overtime wins. Those are big wins. NCHC is going to – it's always tough.
Yeah.
But
it's one of the best conferences. It's not going to get easier. Next year you get Arizona State in the conference.
Yeah. They're pretty good this year.
And they're pretty good too. So UNO is going to continue to get good players. Chase Erdahl wasn't playing either last night.
Okay.
But they have some new guys. Ellis and Lancel were playing last night. Violi, one of their defensemen. They had some guys that really stepped up. And Mueller getting the goal in.
Did LeMay play last night?
LeMay played. He had some bad turnovers. He had a turnover that led
Friday night that led to a goal.
He had a bad turnover last night that led to a breakaway. And luckily,
so slow.
Luckily we got Lacozy back there, and he made a nice save. But yeah, I mean, eventually you got to start getting sweeps. You can't just split every weekend. But conference play, I mean, you got to get points. You got to try to at least win in overtime. Shootout, you get the extra point, but you get more points if you win in overtime. So So would love to see them get that. And then overtime was good. I mean, they played a good overtime period as well. Again, you're playing against St. Cloud.
They won in overtime last week, so tough. They're battling, I guess.
Yeah.
They're playing in some battles, so good to get a dub last night.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Luke, I mean, Bremer. Man, yeah, Bremer is a mosquito. I love it. He's fun to watch. That dude, again, he don't back down. He does not
he's
back
a small
down.
guy, but yeah.
He makes me not, I can't stand this guy in the NHL.
Don't say it.
But you know exactly what I'm thinking of. Who's going to think of?
It's Marchand.
Yeah.
I hate Marchand.
Brad Marchand from the Bruins because he's just a pest on the ice, and Bremer's the same way.
If Marchand was on the Avs, I'd probably love him, but I hate him.
But yeah, he is a mosquito. He's a pest. He is out there, and he does his job really well on the ice, and he can also score. He's also a guy that can put the puck in the net. He's also a guy that's going to be able to get in the dirty areas and sometimes be better off in those battles because he's shorter. He can get down a little bit low. He's down a little bit lower to the ice anyways. But yeah, you can get it. You can get a lot of scoring chances out of the corners too. So we got to win the dirty areas, win in the corners. Again, I've seen a lot of improvement.
That's right. Look, he's on your team. You'd love him.
I've seen a lot of improvement from UNO, and I continue to see. I mean, Gabinet does a fantastic job behind the net. Noel Bernier. I mean, they have, I think, a good coaching staff too. Keep pushing. I mean, keep getting some wins. We got a few weeks off here for the Mavericks.
Get Miller healthy.
Yeah, they're going to be down in the desert to start the new year in a desert tournament.
Who did I say they were playing?
UMass Lowell is who they start
that's right.
off
They play
against.
UMass Lowell, and then it's Harvard, I think, and Arizona State. So,
that'll be some good. Hopefully, some good hockey.
That'd be fun to go
after
to.
the break.
Anybody want to pay for us to go?
Anyone want to?
Or does anybody want to pay for us to go to Tampa this week?
There you go. But yeah, so Mavericks, if you haven't seen a game yet this year, or if you have, keep going to support the team. I mean, the fans there, I felt like there weren't as many fans last night as there were Friday, but Huskers were playing too.
Volleyball was on.
But the crowd was into it, man. The crowd was loud. They were excited.
Yeah, the crowd's always into it. That's why I like going to the games. Yeah. It's not quite like it was at Civic. Civic was just the best ever. But no, the UNO fans are good.
Yeah.
I mean, they're aside from throwing beer on the ice, I guess. But no, the crowd's always into it. Get the cowbells going.
I do think it's kind of funny though in college hockey.
Unleash the fury.
In college hockey, again, the rules are so different from the NHL. So like. Last night, NCHC puts out there, they lose the SCSU loses the extra point in overtime, but they remain unbeaten. I'm like, technically they lost. Technically, you still lost, even though you lost in a shootout. It's still in the loss column.
It counted as a loss on their record.
Yeah, but they're still 7-0-1 or something.
They have they have the same overall record as UNO, 9-5-2.
Yeah, so. Yeah, but they said unbeaten in the conference. I'm like, well, technically they got beat.
Yeah.
Technically.
They really did.
Yeah. Dan, you like Gaz, but he plays not to lose.
They do play not to lose sometimes. That is true.
Yeah, and I think if their defense was a little bit better, I wouldn't have as big of a problem with that, but I hate when teams do that anyways. You play to win the game, right? But yeah, I do think they've underachieved. I
mean, I can understand if you got a lead in the third period, halfway through the third, and D's not pinching nearly as much, but it's tough.
With two guys on their D, we've talked about them already, Proctor and Mancini. Those guys, I love it because they're starting to get up in the offensive zone.
Okay, that's good to hear.
And they're starting to really push themselves to get in the offense and do a little more from the D side, which is great to see. Mancini is such a big dude, and so is Proctor. Those guys are studs. Proctor's goal again last night was fantastic. Anytime you get help from your D like that,
that was a sweet goal. I did see the highlight of that.
You're going to win more games. And so, again, you got to keep pushing. And, last year, we've talked about it last year, towards the end of the season, I think they got swept at Colorado College. I think they split with Miami. I think they lost to teams they shouldn't have been losing to at the end of the year, and then they lost both games at home to North Dakota, who was in a down year.
Well, and UNO was the 4 seed, and North Dakota was the 5.
Yep. So we ended up losing to them at home. Right. We lost both games.
We got home ice advantage for the first round, which I don't think we'd had ever in a long time anyway. Not in the NCHC anyway.
Yeah.
And then we got beat by North Dakota. I was pissed.
Yeah, that was a rough.
Let's not do that again.
Yeah, but to Dan's point, that was the underachieving because last year was a year that they really should have been able to get that next step.
They should have been in the tournament. Yeah, they were a tournament team last year. They flopped right at the end.
Oh, they did win the first game against North Dakota. That's right.
Oh, that's right. They lost in 3.
They should have swept. Yeah, they should have
They
swept.
lost in
but
3. That's right.
Unfortunately, but
that hurt even more. Because then they won on Friday.
And North Dakota fans are insufferable. Oh my gosh.
They are.
All right. So good hockey talk. Love it. Want to keep doing that throughout the year.
We had a lot of people chatting about it.
Yeah, big hockey fan. So appreciate it, Dan, Casey, Jamie out there. So
I got to get out
Luke,
to a game.
Yes.
So next time they're in town, I'm watching.
I've invited Jimmy a couple of times, just FYI.
We have so much going on, man. This weekend I couldn't.
so much going on. Much more important things, apparently.
Friday was.
Yeah, that's
Friday
true.
was.
That's true. Touche. All right, now let's flip the script here. Let's talk about our sponsor, Backswing Brewing.
Yes.
Again, just want to say thank you to Backswing Brewing for the beer. Love being able to support Backswing, and
got one. And we got our new koozies here.
Yeah, we got some new koozies as well. So we'll be doing some giveaways eventually for the koozies. Where do we sit at Baxter? So my dad, Dan, has season tickets. They're kind of behind the net, just a little offset to the right in section 121, whatever the one is right behind the net. And he's got 2 tickets, so we usually don't sit there, though. Usually we try to find a spot on the rail to where we can either sit or stand around the arena. So either in that same section, 121. Last night we stood in 120. Last night we were in 120, standing and sitting in 120 because there are seats open. So, but usually we try to find a spot to stand because I like to stand during games anyways.
Same.
But if nothing else, if we have to get other tickets, if we get like the BOGO deals or whatever, $10 deals, like I will sit up usually in that 222 or 221. So
it's kind of a sore subject, Dan.
Nice.
For the last few years, my boss had season tickets in the club level, and he would only go once a week, and he would always give me the other ones whichever night they didn't want to go, and so I always had good seats in the club section. And then his wife said no more this year. So
yeah. Well, Dan and Luke, you're both in 122. Absolutely, we'll find you next home game. We'll come find you.
I'll try to come out.
Make
for
sure I'll bring
game.
Jimmy along with me this time, and Brian if he's available too. We'll all come.
I'll have to look and see when that is.
We'll have a beer together. But yeah, 122.
Several.
Yep. So right behind the net. Yeah, my dad's in 122 as well. So yeah, we'll come find you next home game. All right, volleyball.
Yes. Let's
Holy cow! Let's talk about volleyball. So last night. The first set.
Ooh, they played Denver next home
game.
Yeah.
The first set against Arkansas last night was, dare I say, we got lucky. Holy cow! Like that was, and absolutely like Arkansas, hell of a team. That team was great.
When you have a 5'7" girl that's like your best player, that's insane.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, and she was fantastic. That team was fun to watch. They were Nebraska couldn't hit. They couldn't pass. Oh my God, I've never seen Nebraska pass so bad to start off, and just in general, their passing was awful. So just so you guys know,
in the first set,
just so you guys know, I don't think Jimmy watched any of it because
I will get to it.
Yes,
just
okay,
go
we'll
on
get there.
And then I'll get to it.
Okay, so first, let's talk about first set. Then Jimmy can tell you about him not watching. So Arkansas was winning the entire game. At one point, they were up 6 or 7 points. And Nebraska just couldn't do anything. Harper Murray, every time she went to hit the ball, she hit it long, hit it deep, hit it out, got it blocked. She was trying to be perfect. Lexi couldn't pass.
She's had a few of those moments this year.
Yeah.
I mean, she's only a freshman, but then
nerves, right?
Yeah, and on the flip side of that,
Yep.
she can be unbelievable.
She can be, and then she picked it up in the second half of that set, which really helped.
Right.
Didn't feel like Merritt Beeson was really much of a beast in that first set. They were
I've
blocking.
seen that happen too.
Yeah.
And then she'll just turn it on, and it's like, where was that?
Yeah.
Where's that been?
They were blocking better. They were hitting better. They were passing better. Everything was just better. They're serving. I think they got a couple
They
of
just
aces
get a
on us.
timeout and shook them up, or
We
woke
went
them up.
I think we went on like a 6-0 run to really get us back, and then that momentum got our fans back into the match.
Yeah, I did see someone said, I can hear myself typing into Vanny right now.
Yeah.
That's how quiet it was.
Yeah. And then it was. I mean, I've never heard it so quiet. And then the crowd just came alive once they started just picking it up and hitting their stride. And so once they hit their stride, though, I mean, even to win that first set, I mean, they are lucky. I think we were outplayed probably about 95% of that first set. And then we just went on a run. again, we had Beeson that picked it up. Harper Murray picked it up. Ali Batenhorst picked it up. Laney Choboy is diving all over the damn court to get the ball. Say they lost us, Brian. Hold on, we're going to try to get the feedback. Sorry, not sure what happened. Okay, can you guys got us? Pooja said they lost us on the or is going in and out on YouTube.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Huh. Casey, you got us?
Sorry.
Do you show your live?
Do you have to refresh it to see if he commented again?
Let me see. I shouldn't have to. It looks like we're live. All right, we're back.
Okay.
Keep going on. Okay. Yeah, sorry, Casey. We're trying to. We're gone again. Yeah, we're trying a new platform. Bummer.
Very impressed so far.
It says gone again. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, we're gone.
Well, shoot.
It said it was making my phone overheat.
Huh.
Not sure what's going on.
Really?
It's back on here now, so
Okay.
there might be a little delay there.
All right, so we might be back. All right.
That's weird.
All right, we're back.
Anyway.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Casey. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, everyone. This new platform. We'll see if we continue using this one. But with volleyball, again, Laney's all over the court, diving around, making plays, saving the ball. And really in that first set, she made a couple really good plays, and then we sailed the ball out of the
Yeah, that one that she had, they was all over everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And then then we lost that point.
What's up, Donnie?
It kind of sucks. All right, here's the deal.
Well, so first set we win, which was fantastic.
First set we win,
amazing.
okay? Come back.
Well, and here, before you go, what I think we did in that first set to Arkansas, we just flipped all the momentum back in our. Well, we had no momentum. We had zero momentum, and then we win. The crowd's in it now. The girls are in it. They're pumped up. Becca Alec is probably shoving people over because she's
crazy.
She's crazy, which is a good thing. I absolutely love Becca Alec. So with that happening, I think we just stole the momentum. We stole the win right from their sails, and that just really helped us go.
All right. So I don't have ESPNU. Didn't realize it until 4:58. And, I mean, I can't really complain because it's ESPN I get from somebody else.
Yeah.
So they don't have ESPNU. I guess I can't be mad at them because they give me their logins.
Yeah.
So that's fine, right? Well, I was pissed. Couldn't watch it. And then, so I messaged you guys, and you said, do you have ESPN Plus? No. Well, then you gave me your credentials for ESPN Plus, and I'm about to sign in, but we came back and won that first set.
Yep. Because I told Jimmy, I'm like, maybe you don't want to turn it on. They're getting their asses whooped.
Right. Well, I'm very superstitious, and...
He's not superstitious, but he's a little stitious.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to put it. My mom is this way, too. Like, if she's standing and they give up a point, she'll sit. If my dad walks in and they give up a point and he walks in again and they give up a point, she'll send him back down the hall. So, I didn't watch the first set. They came back and won. So I said, well, I might as well not watch.
It's true.
Because if I watch, then they're going to lose.
It's true.
And to be fair, when we went to the Northwestern game, on the way back, they were playing Wisconsin. And I had it on in the computer, or I had it on my phone in the car. And we were losing. I turned it off and we won.
Yep.
So, again, I guess I'm stitious about it.
There you go, stitious.
I know Brian said when they lost the third set, he said, turn your TV on. I thought we were about to win or something. I'm like, you want me to turn it on? Oh, no, they lost a set. But
Ryan Thomas, welcome to the show. I'm getting your comments. I'm guessing you're Pooty and you're watching on YouTube, but I see your comment. Yeah, it was on. That's what I told him. Dude, it's on ESPN Plus.
Thomas?
Yeah, middle name.
Oh, I gotcha. That's funny.
His YouTube name isn't Pooty. But yeah, so we should go see Grandma to watch next time.
Yeah, I guess. I'll watch the Final Four, obviously.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna have to. And if we start losing, I'll turn it off.
There you go.
That's simple as that.
Excuse me. Sorry, that was a big burp. So second set,
And I followed on X. I mean, I knew every point. I saw replays of almost everything. So
yeah, they ended up on X, and on X. Second set, they came out just on fire. I think they started off in like a 7-0 lead.
yeah, it was. It was like 11-2 or something. 11-4.
Again, I think they stole all that momentum from the first set, and they took it into the second set to win.
Yeah.
And it was pretty dominating. I mean, that second game
25-14.
Yeah, absolutely dominating in that second set. Then we get to the third set, and that one was intense.
They got up, and then there was one time where it wasn't updating very fast, and I almost did turn it on because I was getting kind of frustrated. And by the time it updated, we were down by like 3 or 4, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
So that was kind of frustrating.
Yeah,
They clawed back in that one, but
and again, they got off to a big lead. Arkansas did in that second set, and it was just too much for us to be able to come back.
I'd love a sweep every time, but for a young team, obviously a young team in the tournament, these girls are playing in the tournament.
You're the best 8. You're one of the best 8 teams. It's hard to sweep.
Yeah, I mean, and 7 of the 8 were 1 through 7, and then Arkansas was 9.
Yes.
So, I mean, they're the best of the best.
And that's one thing about volleyball. You don't have a lot of parity in volleyball.
No.
You don't have if you get upsets, it's going to be early in the season, very early in the season.
Right.
Look at like Penn State. Penn State was in the top 10, I think, early in the season. Then they got knocked down to like 12. When we played them, I think they were 12. But they just weren't, they weren't consistent enough.
Yeah, and they're tough. I mean, when we played them out there, it was tough. It was a tough match.
But yeah, so I think it's something where you have to look at those teams, and you are with the best of the best of the best. Mm-hmm. And the Final Four, Dan, Final Four is going to be amazing. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to. I mean, look at
Stanford was the only one that got beat.
Yeah, and look at the
1 seed anyway.
Yeah, look at the
Texas, by 2 seed Texas.
Texas is probably the worst team in the Final Four, to be honest. And they're not a bad team.
They're good.
They're not great. They're definitely not a bad team, but they're probably the worst
Pitt's good
in the Final Four.
And Wisconsin, I mean.
And can I just say, I am happy Louisville's out. I'm not a big fan of Louisville. Not a big fan of their team. Or not really their team, their coach. I don't like their coach.
Was he the old Illinois coach?
Huh?
Is he the old Illinois
coach?
I hate that dude.
I think so, yeah. I don't like him.
I hate him.
Wasn't
he like Stanford coach? He
always just looks like a pissed off old man.
I don't like him.
Anyways, I'm not a fan of him, but I'm glad Louisville is out. Pitt had to come back. They were down 2-0, and they ended up doing a reverse sweep. So that was pretty cool. Really good for Pitt. So we got Pitt next. That's who we're going to play on Thursday.
Yeah, tough.
So it's going to be tough, but it should also be really fun. So looking forward to it.
And if we win, it's probably going to be playing Wisconsin. And that's, they the only team to beat us this year. We beat them. It'd be, best of 3 for championship, essentially.
Yep.
And we lost to them in the championship a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So
It could be. I really hope it doesn't come down to. I would love to play Texas instead.
The only thing is if you lose to Texas, I'd be more upset. I mean, I guess I don't know. Wisconsin just got those tall girls.
Man, they got a 7-footer on their team.
Yeah. They're good.
But a couple shout outs from the game yesterday. We had Becca Alec. Becca Alec had
unreal
12 blocks.
In one match.
12 blocks in a match, and 8 for Merritt Beeson. So together they had 20 of their 32 blocks. Merritt Beeson.
And that's a block for a point. That's not just a block.
Yes.
You could have an amazing block that comes back up.
Yes. And Merritt Beeson had 19 kills. And Harper Murray had 15. So,
damn, 19 is a lot of kills. 19 kills and 8 blocks.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Talk about you're almost looking at a double-double.
How many set assists did Bergen have?
40.
That's good.
Yep. Lexi had 8. Again, for how bad they started in that first set, that was really, really cool to see them come back because they really, again, they're passing, they're setting, everything was just so off. And they kind of went back to that in that third set. In the third set, again, their passing was off, their setting was off. They weren't getting They weren't digging the ball. They're finding the holes. Arkansas, I'm like, oh shit, they got us figured out. They're hitting the holes. We're missing blocks. We were going up to block the ball, and the space between girl 1, girl 2, it was 2.5 feet or so, 3 feet sometimes. So there was so much space between where we were. So Andy Jackson actually played pretty well, but you could tell some of the nerves from the young girls, from the freshmen. And so she was off her game.
There's no seniors on the team. They have some experience, obviously. Lexi is unbelievable.
Yeah.
But, they're young. And, they're in a spot now to make something pretty special. Mm-hmm. And they could, there already is 6 Final Fours in the last 9 years.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. And we're still selling out the Bob. They're talking about making some renovations and getting more seats in there.
Yeah.
There's just the Nebraska volleyball team is absolutely amazing. Wisconsin, they may be our kryptonite. But one thing that I'm really excited about is not just this year and what the team has already achieved, but what they're going to be achieving the next 4, 5, 6, 7. They're going to continue to achieve and have great results, even if Cook is gone at some point in the next 10 years, which he might not be.
Who knows?
There's so much.
He doesn't really have much left to accomplish.
He doesn't, he just loves it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome to love your job, get paid well, and win. And
what more could you want than what you have this year? You have a good mix of freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. Yep. And you don't have any seniors. There's no way he's not coming back the next 3-4 years. Yeah. There's no reason why he wouldn't. Right. You're looking at least, I'm going to call it now, you're looking at least 2 to 3 championships in the next 4 years, including this year.
The only thing that is a bit tricky is there's a lot of local talent. It's really good. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be able to keep all that talent here because those girls aren't going to be able to play right away.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to come in and right away and play.
Yeah.
We're not used to that in the football side.
Look at Whitney Lowenstein.
Yeah, exactly.
She was great for Nebraska. She doesn't play all of last season. She ends up leaving the team, and then she's now transfer portal. She was a great player.
Well, and what's the girl, Purdue, that it was from Elkhorn North?
Yeah.
I think
so, yeah.
Yeah, because she's not going to play at Nebraska right away, but she can go play somewhere else. And, Purdue is a decent team. The Big Ten is all pretty good.
True.
But, the only troubling thing is trying to keep local talent here. But they're going to have top recruiting classes every year.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So
Casey, only way he's leaving Omaha is if the new pro team throws a bag and a half on him. Man, they might need to throw 2 or 3 bags on him, Dalton, to be honest. But is he the next AD, Luke? I don't know how long Trev's going to be around. That's actually a really good point.
That's a good question.
Very good question.
The other thing is Trev's probably younger than Cook.
I think he is, and I don't know if that's what Cook wants, but you never know. Anything could happen. He loves Nebraska, which is great.
I've walked through his house in Lincoln.
Okay, there you go.
He wasn't there; his wife was there.
So speaking of Cook, did he get tackled in the Georgia Tech game? Seen a clip where he said his football career has been okay. So this is what happened. Laney Choboy happened. Casey. So there was a ball that was coming behind the bench, and he saw Laney coming. And he was telling her, no, like, you're not going to get it.
She said, I would have gotten it.
Yeah. She's like, no, I'm getting this ball. And so instead of letting her die for it, he basically caught her. Because you got to have 1 foot on the court.
Oh,
1 foot in play. So,
I guess I didn't know that.
So there's no way she was going to make that play, even if she dove. And so he's like, he ended up talking to her, like, you have to have 1 foot in.
Okay.
But that's just.
She said I would have gotten it.
Yeah. So that's what he was talking about. He's like, I think he said she's solid, or she's a. What is he? She's a handful, something like that. Because, she just ran right into him. And he went and caught her. He goes, I'm a little sore today. But that's what he's talking about football.
That's funny.
So that was really funny. But
he's pretty witty. He's dry wit.
He's super smart. Yeah, super smart. But, yeah, Laney ended up taking him out, and he had to catch her. But that is the team he has in front of him. It is a team of girls that are not going to give up. They are not going to just let someone come in and push them around. Yep. And that is what we saw yesterday. And that's what we're going to continue to see against Pitt. Yeah, that's what we're going to see after that against Wisconsin.
The one thing I will say that'll be interesting is, it's a comfort thing playing at home for a lot of young girls. I feel like, it has been. They struggle in the first set, but they get through it, and then so obviously they can't play the championship at home.
Well, now we're at a neutral site.
You're at a neutral site. I mean, how Nebraska fans will travel. So
they're also 32-1. So they've played on the road. They've won on the road.
I know. It's just there's gonna be a lot of nerves early, and some of the girls have been there, but a lot of them haven't.
Yeah.
So.
The stage is set, and it's going to be a nervous stage for a lot of those girls. But a lot of these girls also won state championships. They're on high quality high school teams, club teams. So the experience is there, but this is a whole new level of nerves. 100%.
You're on TV.
100%.
They've been on TV for the whole tournament, but you know what I mean.
Yep, 100%. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm excited. All right, volleyball. Super pumped. If we can get a show together next week at Backswing Brewing, we're going to.
For the championship?
For the championship, yes. If we win, the championship is at 2 o'clock Central Time next Sunday. So if we can figure something out, we would love to get some people together for some volleyball.
I don't have anything going on, but...
it's a normal showtime, Jim.
I know, it's normal showtime, so
you got this going on.
We should be fine.
Anyways, volleyball doesn't take nearly as long as a football game. So
I said YouTube's perfect, but Facebook Live keeps buffering.
Yeah, we're getting the same, Jamie. We're going to have to check out the feed and figure out what's going on. So appreciate the feedback. That helps us. We want to be perfect for everybody. And
we are average, but we want to be perfectly average.
Perfectly average.
My phone's overheating.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it the app?
I don't know. My battery's at 14% right now.
It's not charging? Oh, shoot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
That's why it's doing it.
Okay, so let's switch.
Mine has done that kind of in the past, so I know what you mean.
Let's switch to football. So a lot going on with football right now. As Dalton said, McCord season.
I think so.
So there's a lot.
McCord and Fleming are visiting.
They're visiting Lincoln this week,
which is a good sign. I think.
Everything right now is pointing to McCord and Fleming. It's a package deal coming to Lincoln. The argument or question and stuff I've seen is he a good fit for the team for his style of play?
Right. He's not very mobile.
He's not. When was the last time we didn't have a mobile quarterback? Never. Tanner Lee.
Oh, he sucked.
And really, Thompson wasn't much of a...
Yeah, he could run, though.
He just wasn't much of a runner.
He just didn't
do it often. But
if
Tanner Lee...
he could do it, and he looked pretty good doing it.
Yeah, Tanner Lee was probably our last immobile quarterback.
He got drafted, but he sucked.
So...
We sucked.
We sucked. So that begs the question. If we bring in a guy like McCord and Fleming, what does that do to help Nebraska, Jimmy?
So
I have my own answer. I want to hear your thoughts, though. 'Cause we haven't talked about this yet.
No, we have not.
We usually do.
You got to... The offensive line, I thought, had improved. I thought we were better at the end of the year. And just better this season than we have been the last couple. They weren't great, but they were better.
Yes.
You have to be able to establish a run game, which we have great running backs. I mean, guys are entering the portal because they know they're not going to play. They know they're not going to play, not anytime soon, because we're so deep at that position. Even though we had a couple guys get hurt, we had young guys step in, and we're great. You establish a run game, you get a play action. You open up a play action passing game. Mm-hmm. You have a guy that can throw the ball with time, then he could be pretty good.
Pretty dangerous.
He could be pretty dangerous. We could be pretty dangerous. You got to have a good O-line. You got to have a good run game. And, how many times we miss open receivers or miss that there was an open receiver or just scramble out, or take a sack, whatever you want to say.
Throw an interception,
fumble the ball. He keeps pretty good control of the ball as far as not fumbling, didn't throw very many interceptions. Yes, I understand. He played for Ohio State. They have good offensive line. They have good playmakers at all skill positions. I get that. How is that going to translate? I don't know for sure. And this is hypothetical because he's not even here yet. But I think he'd be pretty good. And I know people are saying Well, he got ran out of town by the fans for going 11-1 because he lost to Michigan and he was average all year. If we would have had him this year, we would have won 8 games minimum.
He got ran out of town by his coach.
Well, that too.
I mean, his coach is like, I don't know who's starting the bowl game. I don't know who's going to start the next. Like,
that doesn't make any sense.
Your quarterback, your team
lost one game, and they were in that game. They lost by 6 points.
Yeah, and you blame the players instead of your coaching staff. You and your coaching staff. Like,
and I know
what's your game plan?
I know his dad said he didn't want to go to a lesser Big Ten school. What, you going to go to Michigan? It's the only that's the only other tier up.
Yeah, yeah. Right? Penn State or Michigan, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, and Penn State would be kind of a lateral move, maybe a step down. And he also said he didn't want to play Ohio State next year. How about you come here, work your butt off, and then go win at Ohio State next year?
Fuck yeah.
That would be amazing.
I just said fuck. Yeah,
don't be scared of that. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I don't want somebody that is scared to do work for something like that.
Yeah.
I think he could be a good fit. I think he could be the right fit. I think we're kind of all in on him right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because, I know they're going after Howard, too. Howard's a little bit more of a mobile quarterback, but he turns the ball over, too. Or he fumbles, too. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of all in, hoping from a cord right now. Just have a guy with some experience. I know we're not going to have him long, but that's just kind of the... Look at how many quarterbacks are out there.
Yeah.
And how many quarterbacks have won the Heisman in the last 5 to 7 years. Like, people that have won the Heisman, is like 5 out of the 7 were transfers.
Yep. And I'm surprised Bo Nix didn't win, by the way. But
no, I knew Jaden Daniels was going to win. He's a transfer quarterback, too.
So here's what I think. So Satterfield is probably our kryptonite here when it comes to a new quarterback. That and I know Casey, you mentioned it here, is his scheme is not good. My question is with Satterfield, if he has a quarterback like McCord who knows we can hit a pass,
right?
Does that make him a better offensive coordinator?
I think so.
I still would like to see an offensive coordinator, quarterback coach separate. I don't want him to be both. But
and he's got to set up. Sorry, I don't mean to.
No, you're fine.
Step in on
Steal my thunder.
I don't mean
you're
to
good.
step in on your territory, but you still have to be able to establish a run game to open up a pass game. That's all I want to say.
And I think our run game is it's there. Use your fullbacks more. Use your tight ends in the block game. Pull your center. Pull your guards. You got to get kind of creative. And I think we have the guys to do it. I honestly do think that, even though a lot of people talk shit on our offensive line. I think we have the guys to do it. We saw improvement this year. I think we'll see improvement next year. A lot of people crap on Raiola. We've done it before too, not thinking he's much of a developer, but we saw development this year. We saw more discipline. We saw better pass protection. We just didn't have the quarterbacks to be successful in that position. We get a quarterback who comes in, completed maybe 64, 67% of his passes. I think he threw maybe 4, 6 interceptions, something like that. Again, over the span of a year, I mean, whatever. It's better than what our quarterbacks did. That's the thing. Did we have a quarterback throw for even 30%? I don't think so. He's an upgrade no matter what. And and you get an experienced receiver like Fleming. Yes, he's had some injuries, and Ohio State fans are like, oh, he can leave. He was injury prone anyways. Doesn't mean he's gonna have another injury.
Well,
but you get a guy like that. What does that do for your guys like Lloyd?
That's exactly what I was just gonna say.
Coleman, your tight ends, your running backs coming out of the backfield, your slot receiver. Billy Kemp is gone.
He's gone.
But like another guy like him, it's the only thing that's gonna do is I think boost the potential for our offense to move the ball downfield better. And not only, you mentioned you established the run game and open up the pass game, it go both ways too.
That's true.
Now you're successful in the pass game, you can open up the run game.
I mean, we couldn't throw deep ball this year. Yeah, we had a couple long touchdowns.
We could throw it deep. We just couldn't hit the pass.
You can hit Coleman or Lloyd especially. I mean, I know those guys are following each other on X or whatever. I mean, just show McCord some clips of Lloyd and say, do you want to throw this guy? Uh-huh. Yes. And that's all you need right there because he can run.
Yeah.
Hit him deep.
Yeah. So, Ross, you're not a big fan. Whether we like it or not, I don't necessarily agree he's a good fit. But if he comes here, I got his back 100% because I know we have receivers that are young, that are studs, that can be successful, and we have a tight end room that can be successful as well. But we have to have a quarterback. Anything's better than what we currently have at quarterback. McCord is better than what we have at quarterback right now. Purdy's probably going to be gone. Jamie, you and I sent a couple messages back and forth. Purdy's probably – I mean, he wants to play. If McCord comes in –
he can battle for –
he ain't going to beat out McCord. That's the thing.
I know. But he could – I don't know.
He's
right there.
And Purdy could start. Purdy could play somewhere else.
He could.
He very well could.
If he would have started the whole season, we would have been bowling.
Yeah. Well, if he had the development that he deserved up until this year, he would have been better. But he wasn't. He wasn't getting that development. Harburg, 100%.
He wasn't even welcome in quarterback meetings.
Yeah.
Last year.
So
he played this year.
So one thing about Harburg, one thing I love about that guy is he's an athlete. He's big. Put him as tight end.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Can you imagine him as a tight end?
If he was a tight end, he could make it. He could make it to the league. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
And look at Zach Miller.
Oh, they're both on campus today. Okay. I knew they were coming to Lincoln. I didn't know what day it was.
I thought they said it was this week, but it is this week, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, Luke, sorry, we lost your comment on Omaha hockey. Go ahead and put that comment up again.
He said
we'll look at it.
they were without 3 of the top forwards, and we still took St. Cloud one in the shootout. So that was impressive.
Hell yeah.
I agree.
Super impressive. We were shorthanded for sure. Yep. Good point.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, again, I think there's always that improvement. Another thing Jamie mentioned, too, was Zane Flores.
Yeah.
Who played it? Gretna.
I don't know if he's in the portal.
Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I don't know if he's in the portal, though.
But he mentioned that there might be rumblings of him coming to Nebraska. So
Cam Ward's not coming here. I mean, it'd be great. I think so too, Ross. Yeah. But he's not coming here.
He's a top
go
fit.
To Ohio State.
Was he Ohio State? I think he narrowed his teams down to like 4 or 5. I did see Jeff Sims is going to Miami to be their QB1.
Yeah, I saw that last night.
Okay,
he's going to be their QB1?
If that guy goes to Miami and he's successful, I'm going to fly down to Miami and punch him in the throat. We're so mad. That's right. Jamie mentioned a spring transfer for Zane.
Yeah, sorry, Ross. We've been having trouble for a fair amount. Not a fair amount, but for part of
the feed's been kind of in and out, Ross. So we're going to take a look at that. A couple different issues there, but
it's not your fault.
It's not your fault.
Don't worry, it's not your fault.
It's not your fault. Grab a beer.
Technology.
It's not your fault. Put a beer in that tumbler I sent you, and we signed, and you drink that beer. Yes, but again, it's I'll check the message, Jamie. Here, I'll open it up now. To be honest, let's see. I'm on an iPad, so it works a little different. Here we go. Let's go. Here we go. All right. So Ohio State transfer Kyle McCord and Julian Fleming are currently visiting Nebraska.
Oh, okay.
As Pete Nakos.
Oh, it's on 3.
Nakos confirms both 5-star recruits. Yep.
Oh, okay. So that was within the last hour and a half or so.
Okay. So again, I do love all the reporting on it.
I don't know if Ward's going to Ohio State or not, but I don't know that we're going to get him.
No, I don't even know if we're after him, to be honest.
They flew out there.
Well, they wanted to talk to him, but I don't think we're on his radar.
Probably not.
So, again, I think everyone wants a portal quarterback. I think no matter who we get, if it's McCord, if it's Howard, I mean, we got to be happy with what we're going to get because it's going to be better than what we have. Out of even those 2 options, those are both better than what we currently have.
And a couple years ago when we went for portal quarterback, we got 2. We got Casey Thompson, we got Chuba.
Yeah.
And both those guys are pretty decent. I mean, I know we didn't win a lot of games, but they both had heart.
Yeah.
We need somebody
with heart and skill.
Heart and wins.
Heart, wins, and not Butterfingers.
Yeah.
Sticky fingers.
Well, and both those guys got hurt, so
yeah,
it's hard to say.
But. Casey, I'd agree. I would actually take Howard over McCord, 100%. I do, and the only reason why I feel like Howard's a better fit for the team and for our current offensive situation.
Yes, but that hasn't really panned out over the last 10 years. He feels like the right guy, but we've thought that with other guys.
Yeah.
And they maybe were good, but they were either injury prone or we just didn't win a lot of games.
Yeah.
Or they were turnover prone.
We haven't won a lot of games in a lot of years.
I know. We've been doing this for a long time. We've won a lot of games during this time. But it's fun.
Yeah. So
the dream is always there.
So Jamie can't confirm it yet, but we have a receiver from Indiana.
Yes, and he's really good.
Here's
if we get him too, that'd be insane.
Here's what happens.
And then we get an offensive lineman or two.
I said like Purdy to start. Give him a year to develop. Ross, I don't disagree with that. I think Purdy, and after Purdy came in and played, just in the
we were like, why hasn't he been playing the whole season?
Yeah, he played the few drives to end that
Agreed.
game. And I'm like, shit, he should start next game. Let him start him the rest of the season. I don't disagree at all. I do think you get a good coach to develop him, he's going to be even better.
Did we hire a quarterback's coach?
I don't think we've had no, I don't think they're separating it yet. It's something that I think Rule is thinking about.
Planning on doing?
Yep.
Much needed?
Yes, but here's what's going to happen. You get, no matter what next quarterback you get on, if you get a guy like McCord, all that rumbling with McCord, or even Howard, what you're going to do is you're also going to get receivers that are going to be like, in the portal, like, oh man, I now want to look at Nebraska.
That's why I think that you have to try to get McCord.
Yes.
And I'm not taking anything away from Howard. Yes, Kansas State has been better than us for the more successful last 4 years. Yes, I get it.
As have a lot of teams.
They won a conference championship. Last year. So, yes, I get it. But McCord, it just might attract more.
I think Howard would, though, too.
He might.
I don't know if he was a 4 or 5 star, but I know that he's a guy that people know. Everyone knows his name.
Yeah.
Everyone knows who Howard is. And so I think either way, either one of those guys, I think you set yourself up for success to get other guys in the portal to be like, yo, I want to go play for Nebraska. I want to go play for that quarterback. And you come to a storied program like Nebraska as well. So
either way, I think we'd be okay.
Yeah.
And McCord can run. So, or not McCord, Howard can run. So I'm not against it.
Yeah.
I just want somebody that's going to be good. So as long as they're good, I'm cool.
Yeah.
I just think McCord is more of he took Ohio State 11-1.
Yeah.
They're right there.
Yeah. Any upgrade is an upgrade. Any quarterback is going to be an upgrade for what
those guys are all going to be one-year guys anyway. So,
yes.
Who's going to be the best that can win us games and help Kalen and whoever else is going to be in that quarterback room to be better every day.
Yeah, I want to have a quarterback problem to where we have quarterbacks leave because they're not going to get playing time.
Agreed.
And not in a bad way. It's because we have a talented quarterback room to where they're third on the list and they're also talented and they go and
they're awesome somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah. Agreed.
I want to have that problem and we don't have that problem. I don't think we ever have. So Ross says Rule's waiting for bowl games to end and seeing what QB will get before hiring a QB coach. That makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with you, Casey. Harvard could learn from Howard. I get that. It's just holding on to the ball.
Yeah.
It's so... It doesn't matter who our coach is, who the players are. We're turning the ball over. We need to change something.
You can't blame coaching on those turnovers.
I agreed. But we've done it with several coaching staffs. But... Can you reverse what happened this year with bringing a guy in for a year and having those? I don't know. Maybe.
But
that'd be great.
Here's what's interesting about what Jamie said about a kid from Michigan State coming, Sam
Levitt.
Sam Levitt,
he's a he's a
development opportunity.
He's got 4 years. Yep. All the other guys in the portal are 1 year guys. He's the only one that's 4 years.
Yep. So he's a development piece.
He's is essentially a high school kid. Yep. He hasn't played games. He threw a touchdown against us this year.
Yes.
He had played in 4 games.
But here's what you need to know when it comes to other teams in the Big Ten. If people want to stay in the Big Ten, Michigan State, whole fiasco with coaching and all that stuff.
And they still beat us.
Northwestern retains the coach that took over in the interim.
And they made a bowl game over us.
Indiana, new coach coming in.
Yeah, he's talking shit too.
Oh man.
That's hilarious.
Talk about a coach coming in and just railing. You thought Frost said some stupid stuff. This coach is talking about beating Ohio State next year. He's talking about coming in and just railing the entire Big East. And
I mean, it's not going to be the Big
hilarious.
East. It's not going to be Big Ten East next year. But
the,
you know what I mean?
the current Big East, and it's hilarious. I'm like, man, like I, you've won some games, but come on, man, like you were at Jackson State, or
I don't even know where he came from.
yeah, he came from not Jackson State, James Madison.
Oh, that's right,
Dude,
James Madison.
you just came from James Madison. You're already coming in.
Yeah,
hot.
they've been a pretty productive FCS school for the last several years, but
Whole different ball game, my man.
it'll be interesting.
Is he going to be your next Dion?
Just talking trash every week. They did get that offensive lineman, unfortunately. That number one offensive tackle.
Oh, yeah, whatever. Dude, they still got to go out and perform.
Well, he'll just go there for a year and then enter the portal and go to the SEC probably. So,
Well,
well, that's the thing. That's what everybody's saying now.
Uh-huh.
If you're a really good player, go to a lesser school right off the bat so that you can then pick and choose which school you go to that's going to give you the most money.
Yeah.
Because if you go to Alabama, you're not going to play this year. But if you go somewhere else that you can play this year,
Yeah.
you can make a shit ton of money.
Oh, yeah.
And go to whatever school you want.
Did you see the Marvin Harrison Jr. discussion
not sure.
on money? They're talking about how much he can
if
make.
he can come back. Because they said he might come back.
They said if he comes back, he can make anywhere from $30 to $40 million.
What?
Yeah, I'm not kidding. They're talking about like
He would-
with endorsements, NIL, and all this stuff. He'd make more than he would coming into the league.
Oh, for sure.
How stupid is that?
That's insane. They've got to fix something on that.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. And it's not even a rumor. It's true. And that's the thing that is absolutely
The thing
asinine.
the thing that's crazy about that is how many times has something like that happened? Somebody came back, and then they just weren't as good.
But
They
why
weren't nearly as good, or they didn't win a championship.
why wouldn't you just go to the NFL? Like, why are we trying to retain?
Because you can make 30 to 40 million. I would do it too.
But why are colleges and people that are throwing this freaking money at people saying, we want you to be a super senior. We want you to come back for your 6th-year Bo Nix. Play another year at Oregon.
Yeah, but Dylan Gabriel just transferred there yesterday.
I know. What the hell is he I don't get it.
What's going on there?
I don't know.
He's only got 1 year left.
But why do you want to continue to be in school when you can go play in the league?
Because you probably don't really have to do much school-wise.
Man.
And then you just
You got to
make
take
money.
one class, I think.
You just make
But-
money and then...
But yeah, so
I mean,
Ross,
if you're a super senior, you probably have to be in grad school.
yeah, so those rookie contracts, I don't know if the NFL is going to bite on that. I'd be surprised if the NFL isn't being like, what the hell are you doing, college? How did you screw this up so bad to where you got kids in college making more than they're going to make in the league? How do you screw it up that bad?
There's 18-year-olds that are making more than Brock Purdy.
They're getting paid for potential. They're not getting paid for play.
Yeah.
Well, right now it's paid for potential rather than name, image, and likeness is not what people are getting paid for. They are getting paid to play.
Yeah.
It is semi-professional football. That's what this is. That's what it's turned into.
And they're making more than a lot of the pros are.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you stay? 30 to 40 mil?
Yes.
To do what? Some
People are
commercials?
just like, endorsements.
That's crazy. I mean, it probably would have been upwards of that if he would have won the Heisman.
Ooh, yeah, I didn't hear that one, Jamie. We had a firing of a recruiting specialist. He called a commitment until we didn't have a spot for him. Oh.
It said he resigned, is what I saw.
Oh, yeah, that was a forced resignation.
But was that crisp? Because he
Probably, yeah.
decommitted, and I heard that it wasn't that he decommitted. It was that he was told that he didn't have a spot.
Yeah. Yeah, top 20% making more. Yeah, again, it's just, I don't understand. Again, the whole NIL deal, it's just,
Weird.
it's way out of hand. And the NCAA is not doing anything to try to cap it or say anything about what you can and can't do.
No, because they dropped the ball.
Yeah, they didn't do
They should
anything.
have had regulations set in place to start. I mean, it can benefit teams that need it.
I don't care that
It's just a free for all.
I don't care that players get paid. I care that players are getting paid before they even step foot on the field. They're getting paid when they're just going out to play one position. They're not getting paid sometimes. They're getting vehicles. and they're getting gifts. That is not what the reason for NIL was. The reason for NIL was to get paid for your name, image, and likeness. Right now, they're getting paid just to play football.
Well,
that is semi-professional football.
Before it was, why couldn't they go do an autograph signing and make $500?
Yeah.
Because they can't work. They can't get a job. School and football is their job.
Yeah.
So they can't have a job. But why couldn't they go sign autographs, say hi to fans, do whatever with the kids, maybe go to a car dealership and sign autographs so that car dealership sells a car that day. Whatever. Yeah, sure. That's cool. But it's way out of hand.
Yeah. So Dakota Haberland is the one who had to, quote-unquote, resign.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds like a forced resignation to me. So,
yeah, for sure.
But,
so he told a kid that we didn't have a spot for him. It had to be that.
That's rough.
I mean, it is, but I remember that day in my hockey days. I remember guys committing, and then they got a phone call that, hey, you don't have a spot.
Yeah.
And maybe they would have the next year. They'd have to play another year of juniors or whatever. But you can't do that in high school. You can't play another year of football in high school.
No.
I mean,
people are only playing 3 years, then they're leaving. They're graduating early somehow.
So, I mean, it happens. It's competitive. I mean, it's competitive sports. But I don't know how exactly that went down. So.
Yeah, so the NIL game's out of control. It's never going to be back in control. I don't see the NCAA stepping in right now. Again, not because you can't come in and start setting some boundaries, but because they're that incompetent that they won't.
Right.
It's not that they can't. It's because they won't. And they haven't done anything yet. They're not going to do anything now. So with that said, what you have to do now is take advantage of it. Take advantage of the transfer portal.
Exactly.
Take advantage of NIL.
Somebody like a Nebraska needs to.
Yeah.
In football anyway, not in any of the other sports.
Yeah, and that's where it's going to help you is if you have the right guys able to take control and really focus on who's in the portal, where are they going. I mean, the amount of people in the first 3 days was over 1,100 people in the portal. I mean, that's absolutely insane.
It is.
So it's like if I hit the portal and I'm one of 250 receivers, I'm one of 100 quarterbacks, and 10 of us are 5 stars.
Yeah.
And we've already played games. We've already been successful.
11-1.
I mean, people are going to come look for you, but also you have guys that are never going to be looked at. Or they're going to have to go play at FCS, or you have to play at, your North Dakota States, your James Madison's, because, which again, they're still playing football. It doesn't mean they can't be drafted. But,
yeah, I mean, they could go to Rice, like McCaffrey did, or they could go to North Texas, or, MAC, or Conference USA, Mountain West, whatever.
Yeah. Well, and look at, like Ross says, they've always been paid. Yeah. I mean, look at look at Reggie Bush. Again, you go back to Reggie and his family, what they got.
He's wanting.
He wants his Heisman back.
He wants his Heisman back.
Which he's been doing that for a while. But look at guys like Reggie Bush. You had the whole Tennessee fiasco with money being handed over in McDonald's bags. The Texas A&M fiasco about Jimbo Fisher saying, "No, we're not dealing money to kids, this and that," and millions of dollars that he just denied. And it's like, well,
yeah, and then he didn't give those players.
Yeah.
Like they were promised money and they didn't get it.
Yeah. So
they all left.
Jimbo's an idiot. But again, you have people that, again, just are not. It's been going on for a long time, but now you have it so in the open that you're going to know what this 18, 19-year-old is making. It's crazy. 10,710 Division I scholarship football players.
It's about 10%.
1,300 in the portal.
It's almost 10%.
Yep, almost 10. Your math is pretty good.
I'm pretty good at math.
Proud of you, buddy.
Better?
Well, you got to work with money every day at your job.
I do.
Yep. So, so we'll see. I mean, I'm really interested to see what happens with this quarterback situation. I'm really looking forward to. I don't know. I mean, it's football. I love football.
Yeah, let's see how this bowl season goes. Who you got in the playoffs?
Yep.
Who you think?
Yep.
Who you think's going to win the 2 playoff games in the championship?
Well, let's talk about the playoff because we talked about it before they came out.
Let's talk about the playoff. I'll be right back.
Jimmy needs another beer. He's going to get in front of the camera and everything. So we talked about the playoff. I think you got audio back. Sorry, our mic went in and out for a second there. Florida State, like we said, was probably going to get left out. We thought they'd put Alabama and Texas
I guess we
in.
didn't even really talk about that.
So we were right about that.
Yep.
I still feel like FSU deserved it. Not just deserved it, but again, everyone's going to argue that they had their best player hurt. That's not an argument for any situation because they still came in and won their last 2 games with a second and a third string. And guess what? Their second string quarterback is going to be playing. No sound still.
What?
Their second string quarterback is going to be playing in their bowl game if they play their bowl game.
Well, yeah, I mean they're playing. If they play, they're playing Georgia.
You guys getting sound? Click, 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 click. Good now. Thanks, Ross.
My phone's at 5.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we got to hurry this one up.
We do have to rush it.
So here's what's going to happen. I think Michigan, Alabama. I'm just going to say Michigan because I want Michigan. I don't care. And Texas, Washington actually could be a really good game. I'm looking forward to that game.
So
I think Texas is probably a little stronger on their lines, offensive, defensive line.
Penix is good.
Penix is good, but Penix, is he that good or is he Pac-12 good? That's going to be the question.
Yeah. Well, Big 12 kind of known for pretty good offense. But, scoring a lot of points, giving up points. And Washington can score points. So.
I would love to see Washington and Michigan for the Natty. 100%.
As unfortunate as it is that Florida State did not make it, I think the games are going to be better than it would have been. Although Florida State
Michigan could have been a good game.
Florida State Michigan could have been a pretty good game.
Because their defense is
it could have been tight going into the second half. Michigan probably would have worn them down and ended up winning a bruiser type of game, I think.
But you play the game. It's one on the field.
Yeah.
And to have 13.
It's not one because you're Alabama. It's not one because you're Georgia.
We all know this was a money decision. It had nothing to do. It had nothing to do.
Decision.
And people like ESPN had nothing to do with it. Who do you think hired the committee? Who do you think put the committee together? What is all the shows on? Where all this money is filtering to ESPN? All the games are on ESPN affiliated stations. Mm-hmm. That is where all the power is in college football and these decisions.
Yeah,
it is ESPN.
There would have been so many people with money in those institutions in the South that would have crucified ESPN, and they couldn't let it happen.
Yeah,
they're cowards.
Yep. Dan, I don't disagree. I do think Alabama's probably going to beat Michigan. I hope they don't, but we'll see.
I just don't want Alabama to win the national championship. I don't care if they beat Michigan. Just don't win the national championship. I'd say I'm probably for Washington.
Okay. That's fair. I'd be okay with that.
Obviously, I'm not really going to cheer for Texas unless they're maybe playing Alabama because I think I cheered for them when they played Alabama this year.
I'd probably be okay with them beating Alabama again, to be honest. Yeah.
I don't love Michigan, but
bowl games start next Saturday, so we got more football coming up. We're going to have a show next Sunday. We don't know if it's going to be a volleyball show or if we're just going to be done. So we'll see. We'll see what happens next Sunday. We'll keep you posted. We got to go. Phone's about to die for Brian. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Sorry about all the ins and outs for the feed, but the officiating is going to be interesting to see. Appreciate it, Ross.
That is very well stated.
Yeah, and I'm Matt.
I'm Jimmy.
We are Two Average Guys. Go Big Red. Go Volleyball. Thursday. Tune into the game Thursday against Pitt. Maverick hockey got a few weeks. Then football, we'll see what happens with quarterback and receiver positions. So thanks, guys.
Keep you posted. Thanks,
Appreciate it. Go Big Red.